Karsten Mueller says, Paris, is there any more obvious example for an unarmed citizenry being victims only than what happened in Paris? You know, I said it, I think, on one of the trifecta segments. That we shot 3 and they were great. I don't remember which one it was. It might have been mine, or maybe it was Scott Ott's. I think it might have been Scott's. Many of you have probably seen the footage of, it's taken in a back alley. It's behind the nightclub, and it's the fire exit into the alley. And you're looking down from a second or third story apartment, and you can see 3 or 4 dead bodies by the exit. People are running out of the building and going 2 ways down the alley, and towards the end of it you can see people pulling either dead or badly wounded people down the street by the arms. There's blood trails on the street, and you can hear the gunfire, pop, 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 pop. And I watched this video on camera, and I said something that I'm going to say again, and I said, looking down from your apartment at the scene of mass murder, and I was watching this and I said, this is why I own an AR-15 with a 5 power scope, because I am not going to sit still and watch people get murdered in front of my eyes. I think about this every day. I think about it every day. I think about the consequences of it, and I think about whether or not I would either rather go to jail or be killed or live with myself and that kind of cowardice. And I think by this point in my life, I know which one I would do. I'm not going to tell you that's what I would do. I understand completely that sometimes people talk a lot of big talk, and when the gunfire actually starts, they turn into absolute chickens, and I may be one of those guys. I've been good in emergencies so far, but I'm not going to tell you I would do this. I think I would, but I'm perfectly willing to have the humility to admit that my situation may change. But I will tell you this, watching that, I am telling you, my inclination and my firm belief, and I know myself pretty well by now, my firm belief would be that the second I saw that, I'd get that rifle out, and if I saw any of these guys come out the door, I'd drop them dead. And if after a few moments or a minute or so I realize the gunfire is going on inside there and they're not coming to the door, then I'm going to go down there with the rifle and I'm going to start shooting at these guys. I am just not willing to watch people get murdered in front of my eyes. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not. I can't live with it. You know, I've accomplished a lot in my life, and there's worse ways to go than gunning down terrorists. You know, there's a horrible, horrible, horrible number of ways to go, and I could not imagine living with myself after the work I do and the things I talk about. I cannot imagine that the thought of living with myself, cowering in a corner and not doing anything, that's worse than dying to me. I would go down there and I'd start shooting back. And I think most of you would too. You know, I think most of you would too. And so, yes, you know, how many, you know, the great irony, well, so many ironies here. You know, Geraldo Rivera lost his mind over these gun control things and the shootings. He said the Second Amendment needs to be repealed. It's absolute savagery. And then we find out that his daughter was in the actual nightclub while the shooting was going on. And he's tearful on TV, and he's crying, and he's so upset. And I have sympathy for him. It's his daughter. And then finally it turns out she's okay, and they have a big teary reunion on TV, and it's a wonderful, soft moment. And I'm asking myself, Geraldo, does it ever occur to you, ever, that if there had been 1 or 2 armed people in that stadium, not only would your daughter's life have been saved, but many other lives would have been saved? Because even if you don't kill the guys, right, even if you don't kill them, if you shoot back at a guy with a gun, he's going to stop murdering innocent people, and he's going to start shooting at you. And when he's shooting at you, instead of walking down the line, executing people in the back of the head, that gives a chance for those people to go back. You don't have to kill a guy. It'd be nice if you can, and that's why the 5-power scope is a lovely thing to have. But even if you are, even if you're shooting back at even if you're dropping fireworks, even if you go in there and start yelling at the guy, you're pulling their attention away from the murder, and you are saving lives. You're saving lots of lives. And Geraldo talks about guns like this is a problem. Do you think that these jihadis went and got their guns legally at a gun store in Plano, Texas? No, they got their guns smuggled in the same way they were smuggled in. And if there had been people who were armed in there and started shooting back, they don't have to kill the guys. All they have to do is make them duck. And then we duck, and they duck. And we fire rounds back and forth. And by the way, jihadis, and also for the we talk about the banlieues and all this, you know, there's a whole other episode here, but basically we have this exact same situation in our inner city. But let me just tell those of you out there who happen to be jihadis who are watching the show and who are, ready to taste American blood because it's the sweetest according to the last of these ISIS things. Let me tell you something, okay? When we shoot, we don't shoot like this. We don't shoot like pa 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 pa, and we don't shoot like this. We shoot like this. Right? We train. We know what we're doing. We don't spray and pray. You don't want to mess with us because we're out there practicing and we take it seriously. And I'm telling you, if these guys decide to launch this kind of attack I was talking about, shooting up malls and stuff, then everybody in this country who's got a half a spine is going to be carrying weapons, and these guys are going to be in for a bit of a surprise. They're going to be in for a bit of surprise.